Hello, people. Guess what? I have a flip through that I'm filming right now as you're watching. I'm such a dork. So, I want to do a flip through of this journal. I'm going to be putting it up for sale on my Instagram. She is a beauty. I have had her. I actually made her a bit ago. She is one of the first. Well, I mean, she was one of the first batch of books that I made. She is made entirely by me. I also made the cover. So this cover that you see I made, it's basically a canvas that I covered, and I did all of the stenciling, embossing. I also made the closure. I sewed this from just different bits and pieces and leftovers and scraps from different projects. So I want to show you what she looks like on the inside. So you can untie this or just slip it off, but I'm going to untie it because I really do need to retie it. And plus I kind of want to show you, watch out. I'm going to show you what I did. It's just a little piece of vintage lace, like a little tiny piece that was left from something, and I cut it off and I ended up keeping it. And then I did some embossing on this. This is from a necklace, this piece that I took apart. This is from, I don't know what, just a little buckle from something. And then this is some vintage trim that I sewed up the edges on so that, you know, it doesn't kind of unravel and come apart. Cute little edge there. So you can kind of tie it and do whatever I want, however you want to tie it, you know, whoever gets this. So this is her. I was trying to decide like on a name for her, and I was talking to my daughter, and you know, I came up with all these weird names, and we settled on Forest Ivy. So the heart is actually embossed or indented in the canvas that I used. The canvas is a Heidi Swap canvas that I got from Tuesday Morning, and I repurposed it. I did cover it with material, so this is, you can kind of see, hope you can see that. I got different lights just for you guys, just for moments like this. So hopefully you guys can see the detail in that from the material, from the fabric. And then I did some stencils, embossing with some texture paste. And then I painted with acrylic, and then I followed it up with some metallic wax. I painted inside the embossed heart. And there's the binding, there's the edge. Got some nice florals in there that I stenciled. I hope you can see that okay. It's got an eyelet where the little bead dangles are attached. And this is the back side. More of the ivy kind of throughout. It's kind of showing up more as like a bluish greenish color on camera, but it's more like a turquoise, like a turquoisey green. It's a little not quite as blue as it's showing. It's more on the turquoise greenish side. Here is the bead dangles that I put on here. This is waxed linen string, and I just put some different vintage beads on here, bits and pieces from some vintage jewelry that I took apart. There is some porcelain pieces. There's the owl. There's lots of glass beads in here as well. Sorry, I'm getting off camera. There's a little mushroom. Some of these beads are from Michael's. Some of them are from Hobby Lobby. Like you see these little woodland creatures. There's a little fox in there, a tree. There's a little fox button that I attached. What else? There's another button here. A little bamboo bead. Little metallic pieces that I repurposed and sourced from, like I said, old vintage jewelry that was already broken. So that is on the side. And then you can see kind of everything sticking out, all of the little trims that I sewed on. There are 4 signatures in this. Now let's get into it, shall we? I'm going to zoom in just a tiny bit, I think. Is that okay? A lot that is in here is printables from Little Bindy. which is Johanna. I will link her Etsy and all of her social media so you can check her out if you haven't already. She's very smart. She does really, really good tutorials on bookbinding. I followed her tutorial on how to do this binding. It's actually a floating spine. I think it was hers. I've watched so many videos. So it's a floating spine. So you can actually see how that's not attached to the book. It's kind of floating. And that way, when you open the book, it will lay flat no matter what page you're on. You know, depending on how much stuff you've like shoved in there underneath it. You know what I'm saying? I also did a little bit of cheesecloth. I gave it a little color. It looks a little vintage. That's on the top and on the bottom. I also watch a lot of, or I did, for binding, I did for Nick the Booksmith. I even did one of her classes on Teachable. I know Johanna also has some classes on Teachable. I've not had a chance to do those yet, but looking forward to it. So here we go, page 1. I made a little pocket out of this principle of hers. This you can actually pull out. There's a little butterfly sewn on, a little vintage trim. I actually sewed on a little piece from some of the perfumes that I get from Margot Elena, and use that as a little tab so that, so that you could see it's easier to pull out that way. And then there's little pockets here, little principles. This is something that you can open up and write in, so you can actually attach it and have some hidden journaling. There's a little butterfly. I don't think this one opens up. Oh no, I made 2 sides to her. That's why she's thick. I'm like, she feels thick. Well, she's thick because she's double-sided. This paper in here, that's also principle from Little Bindy there. Like I said, I used most of her principles. This is 1 page. I made a little pocket, and there's some little bookmarks and cut aparts in here. So you can tuck that in. Here's your little owl page. I kind of grunged it up a little bit. There's a pocket here. Pocket here. I did a little bit of collaging on this page. There is another pocket here, so you can like tuck in all kinds of things. I love being able to tuck stuff. It's a page from a magazine, more Little Bindy principle. This is a vintage napkin. You can hide some stuff on there. I actually used the rest of this napkin in a different journal. If you want to look at that, I used it for a binding on the sides of the Peter Rabbit children's book that I made. So that's fun. Here is some music paper, a little bit of, what do I want to say? Grunged up paper, I guess. Put a little bit of watercolor on there. There's a little bit of embossed paper that I collaged, some stamping, a little tiny bit of washi on there. You can see it's like a little fox. More principle magazine page. I actually did a little ruffle with that page too. Excuse me. There's a little paper clip, another pocket. And that's actually a principle. I believe this principle is from Gabriella. From, I think it's Ruby. What is it? Rose. Something Rose. Gabriella, what's your name? You guys already know if you watch my videos. I'm so bad at names. I'm so sorry. I will leave links to everyone. There's another little trim. I think I actually got that from maybe Dollar Tree or Hobby Lobby. I don't remember. I love this owl paper. It's so pretty. Can you believe that's a printable? Look how pretty. Isn't it sweet? And there's little mushrooms. I made a little pocket, a little bit of stamping. There's a little bunny cut apart in there. And there's another little deer cut apart. There's a little deer. I think that's a Maggie Holmes. This one has a little bit of washi on it, a little foxy washi. More tuck spots. This is another one of her little pop-ups that you can use to do some private journaling in. She has a special name for them. I don't know, I always forget. There's another little piece of her printable. And these are like her little printable doilies that she made herself. That's one of her principles. Again, all of the principles were from that collection that she did. I just fell in love with it. There's a little trim. This one is one that I got from Michael's whenever they were doing, remember the Martha Stewart stuff that they had? They had trims, they had party favors. It was just really pretty. I wish they would still do that. More printables. There's some leftover paper bag that I repurposed and recycled with some tissue paper. I made a trim out of that. Here's a tuck spot, another one of her little doily printables, super cute. I did put some stickers in here. This is like for, you know, the journaling from one of my planners. So I put that in there because I like the way it looked. This is a really pretty trim. And I did put a little, can you see this? A little bulb pin with a little squirrel. See that? Isn't it cute? This is actually from a coloring book, and I just kind of grunged it up a little bit with some watercolor and some pen, ink, water. I did a little bit of that on here as well, but then I also did a little bit of stamping. There's a little paper clip. I sprayed this doily and I actually used it as a pocket. So you can do the same thing on the other side if you wanted to. There's a little bling right there. You see that? It's like a little baby leather suede trim, and it had some bling in the edge. I think I got that from a belt or jewelry. And this has some cord that I zigzag stitched onto this paper. Again, that was from some jewelry, vintage jewelry that was falling apart, and I repurposed it. Here are some more pockets. I did a little bit of acrylic paint on a little piece of a paper bag, embossed it. Here's some leftover pieces from some of her printables. My daughter made me a little butterfly, so I popped that in here because I thought that would be cute for the butterfly page. One of her printables, printable off, what is it, the Fairy printable website. I'll leave the links. They have a lot of really cute freebies on there, so it's a nice little source. So I got a few little printables from them for this. More of her printable paper. Printable paper. These are actually like almost like journal covers. And then some of them have little holes in them as well that you can cut out and kind of make like little cabinet cards out of them. I think these are really adorable. I got one piece from Dollar Tree, butterfly. And here's a little hedgehog. A little raccoon eating a strawberry. I thought those were cute to kind of include. Another little doily printable from little Bindy. This is also one of her little hidden journaling spots. I just love those. I love to hide my journaling in my junk journals. There's a little squirrel. He has his acorn, little forest baby. I put one of these in here, like that. Another little pocket that I made. I just kind of collaged together paper bag and paper, and did a little bit of painting and grunging, and then you can tuck some stuff in there. Here's, gosh, I love this paper. You see that? Look at those mushrooms. Aren't they beautiful? And then I did that beautiful like dark blue satin ribbon as a trim on that page. I thought that looked gorgeous together. More cut aparts. I put a lot of cut aparts in here because in that printable there's actually a lot of cutouts that are included, so I put quite a bit in here. And there's another little journal page. I put a little wood piece in here shaped like a house. I'll probably add a few more things in here. This I think was another printable from the free printable Fairy website. I shall link it, I promise. There's a little clip. And there's another one of those printables. Look how pretty. Can you believe they just let us have those? I mean, there's also a program where you can like have a membership and then you have access to everything, which is cute. This is a nice little see-through paper. I know there's a name for it, but once I start filming, you know how I get. I forget names of everything. So, even paper. I forget the names of that too. More of those muted mushrooms. More trim that I made from, this is actually leftover pieces from cutting a pattern apart. My mom gave that one to me, I think. More collaging, embossing, sewing, little cut apart that I attached, stamping, a little baby piece of fabric there to hide things underneath if you want. I did another one of these little doilies as a little pocket. Did some edging, some punching on the edges, pockets, collaging. This is just for cutesy. And then I made this. I actually haven't looked at the inside of this journal in a long time, like maybe 2 years. So I kind of forgot this was in there. So I made a little tag. I really do like making mixed media tags. So there's some, those were actually leaves, and then I just kind of painted them. I did some stenciled, raised stenciling with some texture paste. The background looks like wood. That's actually a tag from clothing, and then I just added on all these little bits and pieces that I had from, you know, the small Tim Holtz collection. But the button in this, look at this little button. I feel like it steals the show. It's so cute. The texture, it looks like a little wooden flower. It's actually a wood button, so I had to put that in there. I love it. And then there's a little piece of suede attached to it from some of that leftover necklace jewelry that I took apart that was broken. More pockets, more little bebe things. This is another principal from Gabriella. That's a Tim Holtz. I think this is a Echo Park collection. I gave the rest to my sister-in-law, so I only used a few pieces in this and didn't use any of the other. This is a vintage tag to a piece of furniture. I found this in something and I left it. I may have gotten it in an ephemera package from someone, who knows. Another little bulldog pen with a little bit of beading on there. There's little Bindy's forest principles. God, I really love this. Probably one of my favorite papers is this mushroom because it's so bright and vivid, and it printed so beautifully. You can see the different shades, I hope you can, of the blue in there. She did such a beautiful job making that. Another pocket, another one of her doilies that I printed. And this pocket is on the opposite side. It's a little baby tuck spot, and there's another butterfly in here. And then another double-sided butterfly. I love that. That's from her collection too, right? I believe it is from Little Bindy. Good job, girly. Love that. She has such cute printables. I use them all the time. There's another mushroom. I just did some vintagey stuff on the back so it wouldn't be blank on the back side. This is some accounting paper. It's actually newer paper, and I just kind of grunged it up with some water and watercolors and ink, and then just did a little grungy stamp on the side there. There's the butterfly paper. I don't know if I let you see a close-up of that. That one's butterflies and moths. So pretty. That is a piece from Tim Holtz. A little bit of a stamp. I made a little tiny tag with some leftover bits, washi, embossed paper, Tim Holtz, tiny ephemera, a little piece of a trim there as well that was left over from something else because, you know, I don't want to waste it. This is actually a principal from Little Bindy as well. It's a different collection. She has a lot of vintage doilies that are printables. You should check those out. There's some beautiful ones in there, even holiday ones like Christmas. They're really pretty. A little bit of crocheted trim, more of her principals. This is also a different collection that she has, but it is one of her printables as well. And this one has all the forest animals on it and the bunnies. You've got your mushrooms, your floral, your ivy, your owls, and your squirrels. I think that one came out gorgeous. Really like this collection. And there's some grunge material I got from someone. I forget who. Don't ask. And I just made a trim out of it, ruffled it up, or I ruffled it up. It was already trim. And there are some die cuts that I did. Some greenery, some leaves. There was more music paper, all grunged up. It's like very old. That tape was already on there. Another baby tag that I made with some leftover trim. There's her little mushroom. I think this is one of her freebies also. If you watch her videos, she did a freebie and you could, there was a link to it. If I find that, I'll link it as well. And there is a little owl. I keep going out of frame. I'm so sorry. I did grunge this up a little bit more. I did a little bit of a stamp. I actually used a buckle or something from, again, broken jewelry. I sewed it on here and it's kind of on both sides. I could have gotten a little bit more creative, but I think this worked out fine. And then I put some little beads on there. More of your principles, the paper principles of hers, and little cut aparts. There's another little pocket. I put another butterfly because this one's a darker green, really pretty. These are Tim Holtz. I tried to make sure I sewed a lot of pockets in here because I feel like I'm always having to add a lot of pockets whenever I do my own journaling. So for this one, I was really focused on doing that, making pockets and tuck spots for people to use in this journal. The other side of that music, the music sheet, did some stamping, and that tape was already on there. Isn't that cool? This is another principle from the Fairy website, and this is, I believe, Johanna's freebie that she has somewhere. I'll have to look it up. It's been a while since I've looked at that. And the other side of that beautiful paper that I love. I made a little tuck spot here. Sorry, I keep going out of frame. A little tuck spot here. I added a little paper clip to it. And there is another principle of her doilies. Those are super cute. Little tuck spot there. Like that. I got it. Okay, like that. I love the shape of that too. Isn't that pretty? And how it kind of flows with this page. Just giving it more interest. I also made a little bulldog pin out of a piece of jewelry. And this piece has like little holes on both ends, but I thought it looked really pretty on a pin. Broken jewelry can be a treasure. So here is another principle from the Fairy website. I did a little trim with some leftover fabric, a cute little area to journal. I did a front and back on this one, and I sewed a lot on a lot of the things in here, but I sewed the edges closed, and then I did a little tab with the other leftover suede piece from this piece. Came out really cute. There's your butterflies and mobs, more grungy paper with stamping. Look at this beauty. Look at this beauty. Is that not gorgeous? Do you want to see something else? Oh, look, you can journal in there. Ugh, so pretty. I love her stuff. What a great idea, right? Okay, this is the back side. I tried to kind of do like a little bit of a, you know, like a library pocket. So I kind of just took one of her principles, which again, you can cut out the middle and kind of use it like a cabinet card. It's a different collection, printable collection of hers. But I basically just grunged it up and kind of scraped some off with a little emery board, a nail file, and then I sewed it on. I sewed on these little pieces as well before I attached it to make the back end of this book. There's a cute little flower tucked in. There's another little tag that I made with the principal butterflies. We have reached the end of this beautiful book, which is Forest Ivy. I will be listing her. So if you want to check out my Instagram, if you don't already follow me there, I'd appreciate some follows and some likes and some comments and all the things. So I will talk to you soon. I hope you are all doing wonderfully well, and I will see you. Besos. Bye.